Yeah, you ready, Mr. Mayhem?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now that right there is quite interesting. Do you regret not sounding the siren?
Oh, this dude's
Yeah.
such a dumbass dude.
Yeah.
I regret not sounding the sirens.
I do not. And the reason why,
So many people said they could have been saved if they had time to escape. Had a siren gone off, they would have known that there was a crisis emerging. And as we know, so many bodies were found in the ground as the flames caught their heels.
Give me the answer.
the sirens, as I mentioned earlier, is used primarily for tsunamis. And that's the reason why many of them are found, almost all of them are found, on the coastline. The public is trained to seek higher ground in the event that the siren is sounded. Had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone Malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire. By the way, I should also note that there are no sirens Malka, or on the mountainside.
According to the state's own government website, those sirens can be used for a variety of natural and human-caused events, including wildfires.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. So it's definitely a mixture of things. You got not sounding the sirens. The excuse was because it's only for tsunamis, but yet the emergency management says they could be used for any type of emergency, including wildfires. You got the water is shut off. You got police blocking people from going out. So let's go and talk on that. AC, since I'm going to be checking out and a little distracted.
Okay. You checked out, all right.
All I'm gonna say is that rescue, you did the perfect symbol. You gave him the number one. You were telling him he's number one, and he really is. Like that, like the video said at the end, they can use those sirens for wildfires. I don't understand it. I don't understand what these people were thinking. If it's not a part of the all the conspiracies that's going through everyone's head. I mean, there's just way too much to be an coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences. Stuff happens for a reason. But what was that man thinking? What was the guy that wouldn't turn on the water? What was he thinking? Like I said, there are so many questions. There's more questions than answers that we've had. Where's the kids at? Where are the 1,000+ kids at? Where's all this information? Because something just doesn't feel right with this entire situation. And rescue, you can go right ahead, because that's all I have for the time being.
No, mine's real simple. That dude right there, he's trying to make an excuse for something that was done. He knew it was wrong. He knew it was bad. Whether he was the one that made the actual call, I don't know. But he participated and he knows it. And then to say something so stupid, because of course anybody in their right mind is going to be asleep or laying down or doing something in their house and hear an alarm, and they're going to run out and they're going to say, oh shit, it's a tsunami. And they're going to run towards this orange flame of all this burning trees and underbrush, because that's what anybody would do during a tsunami warning. You're going to run into the fire, because this is what fucking people do, because they've been trained like they're fucking animals or something. That one really pisses me off. I apologize for my language and everything, but
Oh no, you're fine.
the public is trained to go, and it's like, what? First off, dude, it's an air horn. You know how many people probably go, what? What's happening? What's happening? You might even a minute for a fucking tsunami, and they'd have still been standing there going, wait a minute, what? Oh wait, tsunami, and then they'd have been running. So nobody just takes off running from that shit. I don't know. But that just, to me, that was a dude that was having to repeat it was a John Pierre bitch standing at a podium. And I got to say some stupid shit, and it's not going to make any sense, but this is the script, and I have to read it. So blah, 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 blah. Wah, 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 wah.
Wah,
Steve?
wah, 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 wah.
Steve, your thoughts?
But no, it's just a horrible excuse because, again, 15 years living here, that's the first time I ever heard that siren is just for tsunamis. It's bullshit. So that's it. That's all I have to say about that. I left for 1 second. Oh, it's just for tsunami. Well, because when those missiles were coming at us,
Yeah.
it wasn't for tsunamis then. Or I mean, there's plenty of times that shit's gone off that it wasn't just once a month testing it, but for reasons that was not tsunami. So for him to say, well, it's supposed to be just for tsunamis, nah. And you could tell by his demeanor too, by like his body language, that he's like, I gotta say, like you were saying, right? You know, I say anything that just doesn't make sense to confuse them and get me the hell out of here. You know,
Get me out of this room.
right? So, but yeah, that's my thought on that. It's just
So Mayhem, what's your take on that? My sentiments
Mr.
exactly.
Man. He must be away for the time being, but
Are you having a Mitch McConnell moment, Mayhem?
yes,
I think
he
he's
is.
having a Mitch McConnell. Senator, did you hear
He's
the
having
question?
a Mitch
Did you hear the
McConnell.
question, Mayhem?
No, I was interrupted rudely by my job.
What a job, J-O-B shit. What's that?
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, what is it? But
Yeah.
there are so
It's not
many...
your turn. It's not your turn.
Wait, did you see? Hey, ma'am, did you see
It's
that
not
in
your turn.
chat?
No.
Someone in my chat. I'm not even sure who that is. Raising Cane.
Is
Yeah.
he
See
raising
that?
Cain?
We know where the kids are, but few are saying it. This was a land and child grab, and the smoke screen provided the perfect cover to facilitate that. Grab the children and barbecue. Okay. I don't know who that is, but aloha.
Aloha. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay, man.
All right,
What we
let me
got?
get back my lights on. Okay? Let me get all my lights
Okay.
back on.
What are you covering up for? You're covering up something.
I'm covering up
So what's
my
really going on?
Yeah.
Are you hauling off electrical equipment from Hawaii?
Yeah. I'm bringing some electrical power and water. Well, no, actually, right now I'm hauling sailboat fuel.
Uh-huh.
Don't ask. Yeah. But yeah, I apologize to everybody for my job being so rude and interrupting me. How dare it? How dare it? But yeah, I mean, I see that, and it's just a bunch of damn excuses. You know, I didn't. He didn't act in the way that he should, because if it's in the policy that it could be used for anything, and rescue, you're right. If I hear a tornado siren going off, it doesn't necessarily mean in my state that there is a tornado. It's just saying, hey, there's high winds, there's something up. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to be like, what the fuck is going on? And yeah, I'm not going to run towards the mountain because, you know, the mountain's on fire. I'm going to run into the fire. Yeah, that fire is going to keep me safe from the tsunami. Doesn't make any damn sense, you know? Or I'm going to run into the tsunami to say, you know, to save myself from the fire. I just don't get and there's no coincidences. everything is happening for a reason. It was just a letdown by a letdown by a letdown. And I just want to ask Steve, like, when you see something like this, does this really give you confidence in Hawaiian government?
No, not at all. I mean, I lost my confidence in the government here maybe 6 years ago when I started opening my eyes and seeing things and talking to certain customers that I kind of became friends with, and I started seeing things more clear, and I was like, wow. Well, put it this way, like what happened with the president thing in 2020 wasn't really much of a shock to the Hawaiian people because anyone in office here has been doing the same shit for 20 years. So like Josh Green, he he was voted in, but not by the people here.
Right.
Nobody likes that guy, but yet he wins all the time.
Yeah. And that we have another video, and which one is this one, AC?
Quicker than they got to their own state.
It's
the first that any of you guys.
Oh,
You
okay. This is the is this the one that I sent you about the Biden's response, the federal response? We already
the Biden response, yes.
Yeah, we kind of talked about the state response. This is other locals. And what was this? What was this?
Let
it
me
was
make
Daily News.
Sure, let me make sure. Let me go because I actually downloaded these. So give me 1 minute.
Okay. But yeah, while he's checking that out,
Maui natives slam Biden ahead of visit. This is the this is
Daily News. Is that what the channel's called or something? It's not the Daily Mail.
I downloaded these on.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be the Daily
But
Mail.
anyways.
But yeah, this is before Biden even goes over to Maui.
And this is their view on it.
Let's get into this. This is going to be interesting.
Heard from President Biden was after the rest of the mainland knew that the fires were going on, that there was this chaos, this tumult, this tremendous loss of life. What do you say when the president of the United States says no comment and then goes bicycling?
What he's not doing actually for the citizens of this country, for the citizens of Maui and Lahaina, it's completely disrespectful. And now he's going to be coming here tomorrow, and all of a sudden it's going to clog up the roads. They're not going to let anybody through. It's going to slow everything down just so he can come in and take a look and do nothing yet again. So it's ridiculous, it's nonsense, and him.
Let me just say straight to you, President Biden, I pray for your soul. Just repent from your posturing and your lack of integrity and your lack of compassion.
When you're the president of the United States of America, you have to know what's going on. You got all these people that surround, supposed to be advising you what's going on. For you to say something like no comment, I don't know. I can't even respond to such comment.
We have the largest Marine base in the world, the largest Navy fleet right there. We can see the island. It could have been here in 12 hours.
You think that if he wanted to, the president of the United States or one of his chiefs of staff could have ordered military assistance from Pearl Harbor and the U.S. Pacific Fleet?
There's no question they could have done that. They did it for Ukraine way quicker than the response here in Hawaii.
Exactly. And I'm glad that guy talked about Ukraine. And we talked about this a little bit earlier about those on Maui getting $700. How much did they send to Ukraine?
I think it's close to $200 billion right now.
Already?
Well, the same week of the 700 was he did Congress for 24 billion to send over to Ukraine. So within the same week of the 700 for Maui, it was also 24. I think it's 24 billion to send over to Ukraine. And so, dude, they didn't even they did more for Katrina, Ike, every other hurricane that's hit the coast. Every FEMA response, it's always been more hell. They rebuild houses. They come in. everything about this is totally off. Every single thing about it, every aspect of the handling of it's off, from the top to the bottom. You know, that dude had an awesome point. One of our largest Marine bases is just right over there. One of the largest naval forces. Dude, you take a carrier over there and off the coast, just the supplies on that carrier alone could furnish that town. That is a mobile city out there. They can process water, everything. It's just the whole implementation. This whole administration, which we all know, most of us already understand just how crooked the administration is. But this right here is another thing. And I will say that Raising Cane has a good point. See, you just don't forget about this. Don't forget about the people. You know, that's the problem. They throw all these other stories, and then we start losing sight of the victims themselves, and don't lose sight of the people. Then I skipped your turn.
Rescue, I was enjoying what you were saying because I wanted to pick up off of what you were saying. Think about this. All of this stuff, we're getting distractions every which way. This was supposed to be a distraction on what we were. This is supposed to be a distraction off of what's going on in the federal government. Now everything's going back towards Washington, D.C., where they don't want it. And it's like, most of us want to know, where are the people that are missing? Where are they at? Where are they at? Are they safe? Are they, were they burnt? What happened with them? That's what we want to know. People need to get a hold of their Congress people. They need to get a hold of everyone they can, because do not take your foot off the gas. And I'm sorry about the phrasing, but yeah, don't take your foot off the gas with this so-called disaster, because this is going to be a bigger story than most of us have seen in our lifetimes. There's about 3 stories that I can remember in my lifetime that are probably bigger than this one. This is a big story. We need to stay on them. We need to make sure the federal government stays on this. The House do their job and actually investigate what the heck happened with all this. I'm trying to watch my language because I don't want this taken down. But yeah, people keep contacting your senators, your representatives, because this is going to make it a lot harder for them to just pass the buck.
I could say, you know,
they're
I'm just going to chime in because
to.
you got a damn good point, AC, because the representatives, the Congress, that's the purse strings, that's the money people. So if in mass we emailed them and we want funding to Maui needs help. They are actually the representatives. Senators are good. Don't get me wrong. Email a senator. But those representatives, that's the purse strings of the government. So if the masses want attention to Maui, that's who you contact, is those representatives. And then they can actually redirect shit. Congress has that power. So I just want to chime that in.
And I'm going to interject. What you guys see down there scrolling, I'm going to keep it up there. Before the stream, I looked into a lot of, you know, where can we go if anybody in the chat, the panel, whatever, wants to help out the survivors in Maui, help out the efforts. This site, I looked at it. It looks pretty legit. I did send it to Steve, and he said he would look into it. But when I looked into it, what I like about this site is that when you go to the site, it's not just here, donate here. It gives you different options of where you can donate. It gives you different options of where you can send canned goods, dry goods, water, everything. So I wish I saved it before I got on. I thought I put it in the private chat and it disappeared before the stream started. So
There's also an
Damn, and
event taking place, and Steve might know about this. There's an event, and I happened to catch the last part, or just a couple hours ago. Eric Clapton and some other artists are doing an event raising money for Maui, and they're sending 100% of the proceeds, and it's to a church that's at the by the mountain. I think they said on the south side of Maui. And then Glenn Beck had another church that's on I guess in the center or somewhere right there in Maui, that's got a church, and they're doing donations and stuff to work with the families right there.
And don't listen to Jason Momoa. Okay,
Yeah.
he has said, "Do not come to Maui." That same video that we saw there's another video where they're going around talking to the store owners and everything, and they rely on tourism. So if you have a chance to go to Maui, go to Maui. Support those businesses out there. Don't listen to Jason and everybody else.
I was just gonna say, like a lot of people are asking, like, what? How can what can we do to help? What do we? The best way is, if you can afford it, take a vacation and spend your money on Maui, local business. Easier said than done. I know,
Right,
but,
right.
Because that's the thing
Yeah.
too. On that side of the island where that all happened, they're like, people are canceling that. Like, they already had vacations planned, and they're getting these people. They're like, oh, well, we got to cancel our vacation now. And like, no, don't cancel it. There's the rest of the island is open. There's nothing wrong. Like,
Okay, thank
Steve
you. Thank
and
you.
May, there you go. Private chat. If you want to put that into your chats, I don't know if
Thank you.
Rescue's streaming, but in the private chat, if you are, you can give that out to everybody. There's the link to actually donate. That's what I was doing up here while
You actually typed it in. See, that's why I like to have friends come up here and help me out, and AC
So-
does a great job.
Wait a minute. So you're saying, Mayhem, it's hard for you to just go over to the side where you copied that link to the scroll bar and just copy that same thing, say Control C, and then go down and get Control V? So thank you.
I'm using my phone, and see what will happen is if I
Oh.
go into another tab, it's going to kick me from the stream. Like, I don't have any problem doing that, because I know you guys will take over the stream. And
what?
yeah,
Dude, never.
yeah, no,
Never.
you guys. See,
We're
I
innocent
see what it
here.
is. Rescue is like, please go to stop being lazy. Go over there so that you get kicked from your own stream, and we could take over.
No, never. I don't work for the government.
I don't work for it.
That
If you pay taxes, you do.
No, they work for me. That's why my ditches run flow.
Yeah, very true, very true. But
And my
But
streets
there you
don't
go.
have
I put it.
potholes.
But there you go. I put the link in the chat. You guys can go check it out. I'm not saying you have to donate, but if I know a lot of people are wondering what they can do. So if you can be a tourist, go be a tourist. If you can donate money to those different ones, it gives you a list of different ones, and they also give you a list of places that are taking donation. They need food, they need water, they need clothing. The government may abandon the Hawaiians, but we ain't. You guys are not alone. So
Did I watch some of the videos of them with a catamaran? They had a couple of catamarans set, and people were actually hauling stuff from over to the town because since they wouldn't let traffic go through, so they were actually coming up in catamarans, and they'd be like 10 or 15 yards offshore. They'd throw the anchor, and then everybody in that area would just kind of gather and form a line. And dude, they would just start handing off all the water. They started creating these little stores all over in there, covered up with tents.
Oh, nice.
And so it's like, yeah, get some food and supplies over to them.
Yeah.
Right? I know, Yankee. We'll auction that truck off quick.
Anunnaki, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Don't get any good ideas. Yeah. I could auction it off, but I'd be in real trouble because it ain't my truck.
I mean, I wouldn't feel a thing.
Yeah, you won't feel a thing.
But this, we still got 2 more videos. One is more evidence 2 miles from Lahaina.
Mm-hmm.
Is one right next to me, and the other one is the one that I did the first 5 minutes on over on my channel when you were over there with me.
Okay.
The
All right.
other night.
Now this one, Rescue can kind of confirm, and let's go ahead and check this out. This is we're going only. It's a long one. It's like 20 minutes, not 29 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it's I believe they're locals, claiming that they have proof of DEW. So
when you see this, you're just going to be like breaking. It's going to break science. If you're a scientist and you understand anything about temperatures and melting points, what we're about to show you is going to change, in my opinion, the whole direction of this entire investigation. From what I'm being led to believe, and it just makes logical sense, right?
Yeah, it's almost like there's an incinerator nearby and they just dropped the car off.
Right, so I'm going to turn the camera on what we're walking up on right now. I want you to notice there's a vehicle that's been here since the beginning. It wasn't dropped off here, obviously.
Look at the chair's not melted.
You can see here there's
it's sitting in the middle.
This is the highest the burn got. Right here. It did not cross the highway. If you look over here, this is the bypass. You can see none of that grass is burned over there. So start to draw some logical conclusions.
Oh, look at.
We're going to show you some more things as we're walking along here.
How did that not disappear? If
this melted, how did that cone not completely disappear? Because if you look at this vehicle, and I want you to notice the burn, the amount of grass, as you can see, that burned and the char marks. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel, and you can see a small little flames right here when this grass burned. Yet when you turn and look right in this direction, besides seeing Dylan, my technical cameraman, you can see this car. And for all you scientists out there that have been sending me images and you're asking me if they're real, I'm here to tell you, in Jesus' name, what we're showing you is real, live on YouTube. So if you enjoy content like this, we ask you to please immediately like this, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you are our only hope of getting this out to the world through the YouTube algorithm. This is a tire that is gone. These are the braids of steel inside the tire. Look at this particular rim. Is it safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel, you can see it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield. That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle. We have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
Just dust.
How is that possible for a grass fire that did not come from this direction? Because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here. What could cause that type of destruction when you have a grass fire on this side that obviously didn't connect? But even if it was a grass fire,
and it's still only half burned. I mean,
yeah, you can see there's even some grass over here that's still standing. It's not even been burned. So even down below, directly below this, you can see some wood fence posts that were burned, but you can see all that grass is still good. So how do you get this car this hot? In the comments section, I need to hear from you guys. Honestly, I need you to hear in the comments section. There's some smart people, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about some intelligent people out there that understand physics, science, melting points, not the nonsense people. We need to just silence the nonsense for a moment. We need some real scientists, some real professors around the world.
All right. So, since AC is like, hey, skip me, go to rescue. Rescue. After looking at that, you're a firefighter. You've seen probably your fair share of car fires, along with fires, grass fires with cars mixed in it. What is your opinion on what you just saw there?
Well,
Explanation.
a lot of it's assumption because since not seeing it actually in action, because you can hypothetical everything. But I will say, for what the first thing that kind of stood out in my mind was the incline. So that car was here, and that incline with that grass. So if that was raging up, I could see the heat from the edge of that grass to that car. It would be hot enough you would not stand there. Your skin would start burning. So that means the material and the rubber on that car started to melt and catch fire. And it almost looked like it started to concentrate more on the driver's side, because that's why that headlight assembly fell out where the other one didn't. Because it's like the main heat from that grass was whipping up over that edge, and it caught that car on. And then you have all kinds of, due to the plastics on those cars are combustible. I mean, they burn. They're toxic when they burn. They flash. The material, the car's covers. I mean, and the windshield's melting. Seen that almost. Just pay attention to car fires. If you ever see a car that they're going, okay, it's not worth it, we're going to let it go, there's nobody at risk, we're just going to maintain it, we're letting the car burn, go up there and look, and you won't see no damn windows hardly in that car, because that glass is going to melt. It's no different than just how we make our cool little pipes that people do recreational stuff in. That's a glass that goes into a furnace, and then it gets brought out, and it gets spun, and it gets cooled, and it gets manipulated. So glass can be melted. To measure the temperatures, it's all hypothetical, because unless you're right there, but all I can say is you've got a heat convection oven. We cook even based off of those principles. So you always want to take that into account. You can't just look for only the things that flames directly touch, because that's not the way big fires work. Big fires actually will create their own atmosphere above them with the heat that's rising and the cool air, and it will create its own little storm sometimes, depending on how large the fire. That could have actually created a storm itself if it hadn't been so spread out, because of just the heat that it puts off. When you think of a bonfire, what does everybody do? Everybody starts off at the bonfire with the chair up close, because they're all going to light the fire. And then as the coals get bigger and bigger, you scoot farther and farther back. Why? It's because of the heat convection coming off. So if you have a landmass that's doing that, you're going to get that reaction to cars. The objects that they flip over, there's sometimes, I mean, I've pulled a tennis shoe that big out before under a bed that was roasted. You know why? I don't know. It's just, it's got to stop and start somewhere, and so there's things that, because I just think that if that was a more intense one, you would have seen like an initial start spot. And you don't see those. So for it to come down and be such a high energy thing that would do this, there's no point of contact. What I saw in that was that front fender and that headlight. The driver's side seemed to be the main point of contact that took most of the damage. The rest was like a heat. That's why that guy reached up and crumbled that piece. See, nothing touched anything. It just, the heat sat there and sucked the life right out of all that plastic and all that stuff. It just dehydrates. It incinerates it. It becomes like a formed ash. I don't know. So that's just that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I kind of noticed too, the front. You know, like if you look at your coals and what, if you're burning a stick, right? The hottest end is like just a white, and then it goes from like a white to like gray to black. And that's kind of what I was noticing too. It was the front fender up to the windshield was just completely white, and then it kind of grayed and black towards the back. So I see what you're saying about the heat was concentrated in the front,
with and over,
up and over. So AC.
The reason I wanted Rescue to do this, because I wanted to listen to what he was saying, because that's why with the conspiracy about the direct energy weapon, that's why I was saying yes and no. But the way he explained it, it sort of seemed like with all the heat that was built within the wildfire itself is what caused a lot of this damage. And that very well could be, because I wanted to listen to him because we were sitting backstage before we started and I was listening to him, and I'm like, maybe with this video, he might have a better explanation where that would be logical other than what people are saying with the direct energy, because, and he expanded on that. And sometimes it's nice to be able to just pass it off to somebody that knows more than I do about this stuff. And I appreciate that. But yeah, and Rescue, thank you for laying that out the way you did, because it was easy for me to understand. It might not even be what I thought it was in the beginning. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve?
I was literally going to say the exact same thing. I was going to thank Rescue because I'm not a firefighter. I've never been a firefighter. I don't, I have no knowledge on how any of that. I just know when I go camping, I've melted bottles before, but they get to a certain point and then they burst, But yeah, like AC said, you explained it perfect, and I understand it a lot better now. So.
Well, and I'm no expert, and I'm not trying to, because that's the one thing I'll say up front. I'm not going to say that that was a fact. I'm just saying that out of experience and just what I say, common sense. And I kind of go, well, this is what I've seen for decades. So I've seen this. And so then I see the similarities. And that's all I want to point out is going, I see the similarities. I'm not, like I said, that's why I said, I think a lot of this has nefarious backing behind it. But I can see a lot of the other little stuff being just the natural event. It's like that. If that grass fire coming up over there, it causes that car to get on fire, that grass is going to then die off. And then it's dirt, but that's still material. It's still got rubber, and it's got the fuel. It's got all the electrical wiring, the fabric upholstery, so that could have sat there and burnt for another 5-6 hours, even after everything around it was already just down and smoldering, because of just the material invested in that fire versus the grass.
Yeah, and since we're on DEWs right now, I'm gonna show you guys this picture. Oh wait, never mind. I don't have it. What? Where'd it go?
Oh, what happened, man?
Come on, man.
It was here.
But you're on your phone, so it's hard for you to do.
Yeah. It was up
That's
here.
why you had AC.
But you guys have probably heard where people are talking about houses with blue roofs, blue things weren't. And I don't know why, because it was up here before AC. I think AC messed it up for me. AC, you fucked it up for me.
Blame it on me.
But anyways, I had you guys can look it up. The people, actually, AC, if you wanted to look, since you're helping me out with this, go ahead and type into Google Red Roof Miracle House. And since we're on this talking about heat and all that, there's a lot of people that are thinking that it is a DEW, because not just because of that car, but because, well, why were these houses burned? But there's this one house right here that hasn't been touched. It's got a lot of people questioning, well, who owns that house? Why is that house not touched? And hopefully AC can get it up.
Who owns it?
There you go.
Oh, you got it?
So who owns the house?
There's
There's the house.
I haven't seen that. No shit, I haven't seen that yet.
That everything.
I've
everything
actually the reason I knew about this is I actually had this saved before he even said anything about doing this. I actually had this as an article for if I did a special on it. Yeah.
So I brought it full screen so everybody in the chat and watching can see this. but look at the devastation around that house. Is there another? There should be another picture. Does it have the picture on the front of the front of the house? As I mean, it is a beautiful house. There it is. That's the house. Everything else around it. Now, I want to go to
That house right there, $2 million easy.
yeah. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and go to. Let's remove this. All right. Since rescue is more of a subject matter expert, looking at that, is there anything that you can explain why that would be?
Well, you put that picture back up.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me put it back up. Angry, put it to the other one. There we go.
What I just did.
Okay, thank you.
So because I wish I knew which way the wind was blowing. It's, I mean, I really, because if it's blowing, I'll say from the car side, the driveway side, the other way, then I could see it dying off in that gap. And that's why there's partial burns down them hedgerows.
Mm-hmm.
And in the front yard, it looks like the heat got affected those trees right there. But then it's like there's no underbrush around that house that it was able to pick up on. And then it looks like it carries very closely on the far side. So it's almost like the fire was blowing from right to left, looking at the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that matter of fact, that's that blade of grass where the wind's pushing. And it could be that what they have, the material of the houses around them. See, there's so much factors. I mean, I could just give hypotheticals. I mean, I will say this just on the conspiracy side. If that was the DEW thing, then whoever was guiding that thing is one skilled mofo because he danced that bad boy just right perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just so, because, but I can see because there is damage in that right-hand lot down those hedges and halfway up the tree line by the coast. So it's like it was catching.
Right.
And then, but like I said, I don't know which way the wind was blowing at the time. If it was blowing right to left, then I could see that not then affecting that house. Had there been another house in that empty lot, then it would have looked just like the others because it would have just bounced from one to another to another.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just, there's my 2 cents.
Okay. AC? What do you think of that?
I don't know what to think of it. I do not know what to think of it because that's not the only house around there. There's other houses by some big names that wasn't affected by this either.
Well, now that would be different. I can explain. I got a good explanation, I think, for that. Now, I don't know their situation, but by having money, I could see them then having water reservoirs. And so what they had is they had sprinklers or something, and they were able to keep that heat convection. So I'm not saying that's what they do because I don't know, but it's just like if you're sitting on that kind of money, I bet you've got solar panels, you've got some generators, you probably have a water reservoir, probably fire suppression system because you have your nice little $45 million home.
But I mean, but if the temperatures, even though, and I'm going to use my training as a volunteer firefighter, even with the water sprinkler system, that doesn't necessarily mean that the fire is going to jump your house. There's still a likelihood of it actually catching something on fire if it wasn't nefariously done. If it wasn't meant to do what it did, there's a lot of questions with, like I said in the beginning, there's a lot of questions that we need answered that we probably won't get the answers to until somewhere down the line. I mean,
they treat it like a JFK thing. We might not ever get it.
And that's very true. And that's very true. And it's like, And I love that Mayhem's doing this stuff because it makes you think. It's making me think with the stuff you're saying, Rescue. It makes me think about, all right, listen to somebody that knows more than I do, because this is, I thought at first I was like, maybe it was the means might not be nefarious, but the ending is. They just like a politician said, don't let a good don't let a good tragedy go to waste.
That's it.
And yeah, so
Yeah, Steve, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you guys 100%. Okay. I'm still on that red roof thing because I pulled up something. It's like a 1-minute video. I pulled that up. Back,
You can share your screen if you want to.
Yeah, it should be.
I will
down there.
say,
It should be.
I tried to
Should be in
find
there.
that house on Google Map and I couldn't find that house. I tried. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying I did try to find that house on Google Maps and you can't find it. Or I didn't. I went down up and down the coast. I'm like, wait a minute, where is that damn red U-shaped house?
In the middle of the disaster zone in Lahaina, Hawaii, sits this 100-year-old house. Its owners say it's a miracle. When the wildfire swept through on August 8th, it destroyed every single one of the neighboring homes.
Bam. Yeah,
but
that's
this
it.
house on Front Street remained standing, seemingly unharmed by the flames that at one point surrounded it. How? A little luck and a lot of preparation. Trip Milliken told a local outlet that when he and his wife bought the house in 2021, it looked like an absolute nightmare. His words, not ours. So they revamped the property, installing a commercial-grade steel roof and replacing old landscaping with river stones directly around the house. The house is also made of California redwood, a tree known for its fire-resistant qualities. But it's those river stones that really help save it, experts say, as one of the biggest risks to homes during wildfires is nearby plants that can be set ablaze by embers. Milligan says he and his wife still feel guilty about their home survival in the midst of a sea of ashes and tragedy, but they're hoping their community can look to it as a symbol of hope.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah,
They had a steel roof and they had redone the siding and everything.
So
those
it might
red
not
roofs,
be.
you see those red roofs. I mean, I see them all the time, but I work all over this island too. So it's, a lot of people that live here don't leave the city they live in, But that's what I don't get though, because you've seen that. It's like I understand what they were saying about how but I don't know if a fire is that. I just don't see how it just goes around it because it's stones and.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, redwood, California redwood is harder to burn, but it doesn't mean it doesn't burn.
Right.
Right. It's really interesting, and maybe it's a, the owners of it said they feel bad, but maybe it might be if that is true, maybe Maui residents will say, hey, let's build our houses like that then.
Right.
It's expensive though.
Well, and the one thing, that's what I like to bring in is, I'm not like trying to shoot down any conspiracy, because hell, that word is funny to even use nowadays, because hell, it used to be used for make-believe shit, but then it started being used for shit that you were watch happening, and they started calling that a conspiracy. But no, I watched that. And so it's, who knows what that word really means anymore, but I'm just trying to be sure, and because I would not want to see people, because there's anxiety or stress and looking for something, because there is so much bad shit that the government's doing, to just latch on to something because it kind of fits the narrative that they're looking for, because you have a bad taste in your mouth over the government. You're going to always find what you look for,
Yeah.
John Schneider pointed out years ago, he did a little video on YouTube, And his example was a red truck. He said, if I tell you about a red truck, he said, you'll start seeing more red trucks than you ever saw before. And why? Because you're thinking about a red truck now. So the more you search for, you'll see. But you got to be real careful, because nowadays there's so much being thrown out there. Some of it is people just want likes, and they want the counts, and they want the hits, and they want that. And then there's people that are intentionally misleading, because it's like, oh no, look over here, look at there, don't you think they did that? And so, and people are looking, well, now you didn't notice that this happened, and little stuff like that. And so it's just, always take everything with a grain of salt. Kind of see,
You're absolutely right on that about, because it kind of goes along the, like, you believe what you want to believe, kind of. So if you already have like which is really true, and I just noticed Chris Cat said something too. It's, we all know those natives have been fighting the elites to hang onto their land, and it goes back to 1893, I believe, when America first started. There's still groups out here that say that this isn't America, this is Hawaii, that is America's just kind of claiming it. They still don't. It was stolen, put it that way.
But keyboard no sugar coating truth has an interesting question.
Who?
Okay.
In chat.
Oh, your chat. Because I'm like, I don't see
no not my chat. It's in a different chat. It says question. That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Is there a video of the actual owners talking in a video with them actually moving their mouths?
Right.
Now,
I haven't seen them out by the houses, but I've seen some that they held a town hall. They kind of like had their, I don't know, I kind of took it like if you had a city meeting, how they do this, or a school board meeting. It was like their council must have been up there. And I watched a few people get up there, and they want answers, and they want to know, they felt pissed off about the $700. And when is the winter, where's FEMA? Where's the help coming? You're staying and so I heard a lot of griping about that stuff. And there's quite a few of those, but I haven't seen anybody as far. I will say I did see a video of a guy that said he had done an interview with a lady who was allowed to go to her house, and she found her son and their pet dog in his room. It was still fully intact. It hadn't been, but it must have been mainly smoke inhalation and the heat. But he was just sitting on his bed holding his dog.
Oh wow!
And so I heard about that.
Yeah.
Red Pill True shared another. It's only a 30-second video. I don't know if you want to play that. I put it. Red Pill True shared it, and Bonnie shared one too, but it's like 17 minutes. So I haven't watched it yet. So.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Interesting. The garments we may consider to wear can significantly reflect laser light, thus potentially minimizing any possible harm. Are those endowed with fluorescent or reflective elements? Such materials have the advantageous property to either give off or rebound the laser light, thus curtailing the heat and potential damage inflicted by the laser.
That's interesting.
Who I like? I would love if he was around for Wildlife to come up, because he's an actual electrician. That would be an interesting person to have up here with us.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting person to have up here with us. But
Steve's a plumber. That's the next best thing.
I seen Wildlife is in chat.
Wildlife is.
You said Wildlife, right?
What? W-A-T-T.
Wildlife.
Yeah,
I thought I saw Wildlife earlier.
I think I've seen him.
Yeah.
What? Can you comment?
Yes, please comment.
What? Why do you have to say what?
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 And Ronnie,
no,
can you
not a
shut
kilowatt.
up, please?
Yeah, Bronny, shut the heck up. But while we're waiting for that, is this the next one?
Do you want me to take the other one down?
Yeah, take the one, other one that we already watched down. Okay.
All right, we got one left, and that's the one that I did the first 5 minutes. I don't know if you want to.
Oh, it's striking home in a big way. We are dealing with children. We are dealing with the lower end of society. We're also dealing with a playground where you have come to visit. This is an epicenter. This is the epitome. If you can't respond and help to this, if you can't pass this test, then it's just the next chapter is going to unfold of defeat. So I'm calling on you to listen to this message I'm going to give you tonight in hopes that we can birth something here together. And I don't know exactly what that is. We are going to receive interpretation in our mind what that means. I know just a few weeks ago I was doing my thing, and now I'm doing this thing, and I believe we've all been called to participate and to help and to do our part. So our organization is called Maui LFG, Let's Fill the Gap. So we're trying to identify the gaps that we see. One of the biggest gaps right here is the communication gap. I'm sure some of you would know this quote, the whole secret lies in confusing the enemy so that he cannot fathom the real intent. Let me read that again. The whole secret lies in confusing the enemy so that he cannot fathom our real intent. So if we are the enemy to whoever and whatever is causing this current situation, then their purpose and their intent is to confuse us so that we cannot know what their real intent is. I'm not saying I know who the enemy is, and I'm not saying I know what their real intent is, but I do know what confusion is. I do understand what confusion feels like, and one of the ways you can be confused is if you don't have clear communication. That is the first way to confuse, right, is the communication. So the fact that this is my lifeline that enables me to communicate with you, yet most, all others on this island don't have that form of communication, it's clear that their intent is to confuse us because we don't have communication. So I implore you to help us fix that problem. I know there's people listening to that that are captains of industry that have the ability to change this, to make this available to many people quickly. And I think it's time that we stop thinking and looking through the lens of the paradigm of help is coming in the official ways that we think it's going to help. I think we need to stop thinking that help is coming from the government, that the help is coming from the county, the state, the feds, the organizations, the FEMAs, the Red Crosses. I think that is the first decision that we need to make, is that we need to be self-sustaining as a people to bring together private resources. The private sector is the answer to this solution, and to think and hope and put our efforts into these other programs is creating more confusion. I want to share a quick story with you. This is a real story. I recorded the whole thing, but to protect these individuals, matter of fact, I offered to air their story and to raise money for them on a GoFundMe, but they said, no, that's not who we are. But these individuals lost 2 homes in the fire, 2. One belonged to them, they're in their 70s, the other belonged to their son. They both burned. Then they attempted to start a claim with the Red Cross. They were given an 800 number. They called the 800 number. They were told it was the Red Cross. Long story short is they ended up getting legitimately scammed. So part of this message is, if you know somebody out there that's dealing with this, they need to be very, very, very aware of scammers. These are elderly people that do not have access or understand really how to use technology. They were scammed, and it started at the Red Cross. They actually went to the Red Cross headquarters on Oahu and nobody was there. I'm just saying we need to be super careful, and there's a lot of nitty-gritty details that I want to explain to you and a lot of gaps we're trying to fill, but right now I'm taking a 30,000 foot look at this thing, and I'm giving you one example of confusion, and these individuals that have gone through this horrific event are now being further confused on what to do and how to get help. Again, we are also being confused by what it is we're being told this is or what this isn't. All I know is that the confusion can go away once we restore communication, open, honest communication, spoken in love and clarity, having the technology to provide that communication, and then mobilizing the forces. I want to give you another quick story about the confusion. I got a call today from the couple that's down on Lahaina roads. They're still there. What are we, 15, 16 days after this event occurred? They won't leave Lahaina roads. Lahaina roads is on Front Street, surrounded by burn area. They're elderly couple, also in their 70s. A lot of people here are in their older ages, right? They don't have the same capacities as some other individuals or technological capacities. But these people don't want to leave Lahaina roads because they have nowhere to go. And so he finally, with his cell phone charger on a solar battery that allows him to make 2 calls a day, chooses to try to connect with FEMA so he can go to the Hyatt right down the street here in Ka'anapali. And he is told because he has renter's insurance, he no longer qualifies to go to the Hyatt for lodging. So therefore, on this evening, they're still stuck in the Lahaina roads. I have all the calls recorded that I took today, all the people that I called. I called 911, I called the operator, I spoke to the police, then I called FEMA. I was on hold for over 20 minutes. They hung up, and then they were gone. They never called me back, and I told them this situation and how we're trying to fix it, and the operator had no way to help. So I think it's time that we as a country, as a world, make a decision right now that the normal things that we think are going to work are not going to work. And it's pretty obvious, right? $700 is not going to help anybody. Elderly couples that have insurance, renter's insurance, can't get into a hotel that's right here because FEMA says that they're not eligible. Police that don't even care. Guardsmen that are standing inside of this pollution without protective gear. I could go on and on with the gaps that we're seeing, but ultimately the purpose of this video is to give you an update, to tell you some stories, but to ask for your help. And specifically, we have some gaps at our organization. We just birthed it a couple weeks ago, LFG, Let's Fill the Gap. And we have some gaps, and I'd like to put out a call to you if you can help with some of our gaps, if you're willing to volunteer, to help take phone calls, to call people back. Our website, maui.lfg.org, people can put in what their resource is. Go there if you can volunteer and help us. We need bookkeepers. We need people that are specialists, that are attorneys that can help us kind of go through this maze that we're in right now to make sure that every dollar is accounted for. Myself and John Morgan, by the way, go to his website, John Morgan Jr. He's an amazing coach. We're doing this. We're not expecting any money from this whatsoever. We're going to give every dollar back to the survivors, back to the people that are enduring this, and also using our organization to marry resources with the need, whatever the need is. It could be an individual survivor. It could be, hey, I want to build homes, and we're going to put you in touch with the right people over here to make those connections. This is a siren call. This is a clarion. I am asking for individuals from around the world to step forward right now. Timing is critical, right? The confusion that they're creating has got us running around like a bunch of chickens with their head cut off. But ultimately, if we organize, we get communication, and then we get some organization, and we get the best of the best in the world responding to us, responding to this call to come to Maui LFG so that we can connect the resources. We are brokering connections between people like you that can help and the people over here that need to be helped, and now and also in the future. Simple things like, I believe this is a massive legal battle. I believe there's going to be things that are happening that we need to make moves right now legally that will help pave the way for the right way to handle this. Things like the police chief is also the coroner. Is there some kind of injunction that we can file right now to stop that, to make that end, so a third-party medical examiner comes in that's a doctor that can start helping? Is there a way that we can get some legal injunctions so that we can start having a say and oversight into what's happening down in the burn zone, so we can fly the drones over and take a look and see what they're doing in there? I'm asking and I'm calling on the best people I am getting calls from the best people around the planet, the best scientists, the best legal minds, but we need more. We need to get organized, and we need help on our end at Maui LFG. It's myself, it's John Morgan, it's Nuku, it's 3 guys and my boys doing this every day. We need your help. So if there was ever a time in your life that you thought to yourself, what is my purpose in life? What am I doing? Why did God make me? What am I supposed to do besides just make?
And Mayhem, I think this is a half-hour video, give or
Okay.
take.
All right. Okay. Let me go ahead and take that.
Yeah, it's
down.
about a half hour.
Okay. Yeah. But with what he said in there, AC, what are your thoughts on that?
Why is it that the police, the sheriff, police chief, whatever his freaking title is, why is he the freaking medical examiner? Isn't that a conflict of interest? Wouldn't that be somewhat of a conflict of interest with that statement? Him being the police chief or sheriff or whatever, plus the coroner. Why don't they have someone that actually knows forensic science? Why don't they have an actual medical examiner? I mean, they're opening themselves up for people like us to talk about this. I'm saying it now. If they would have did everything they could, I don't think we're up here talking about this. But they have fumbled the ball so many damn times over the last 2 weeks that it's, or is it 3 weeks now? What is it?
I think it's 3 now.
22 days so far.
Yeah.
3
There
weeks.
we go. All right.
There he
I
is.
was frozen for like 8 minutes, 7 minutes. I'm like, but yeah, 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
I mean, I don't understand why that. There are so many questions that I have in my head that I would love for officials in Hawaii to answer, but they won't. I mean, yeah. And Lady Smith, you're right. 20 days too long. You're right about that.
Exactly.
And yeah, I don't want to
All
go
right,
off.
move it on to rescue. What are your thoughts of what that guy was saying, rescue?
I kind of got, I don't know, just being totally honest. I kind of got mixed vibe. Kind of somebody else said that.
Yeah,
because some of the way the wording was. One, I don't understand the point of starting a new group. Why'd you have to start a new group? There's some, like Glenn Beck is actually tied into some very large organizations, people that have been flying over into Afghanistan, still getting people out to this day. So there's some large money back people that are already set up. So why not tie into them? So that kind of just, and I will say that I kind of half-ass agreed with when he was saying, the people, the private industry needs to come together. You don't wait for the government. I can agree with that. Although I don't fully agree with just cut total ties to the government, because we need to start getting those spots back is what we need. We don't need to cut ties with them, because then that leaves them in those power seats. We need to start recognizing what's happening and then start focusing on the key positions. It's like Hawaii. Hawaii needs to focus on some damn straight up elections going. They need to come back and fight back. That change that. Get rid of that Josh Green dude. Start getting rid of these damn people. Because then if you think about it, and this might sound a little ugly, and I don't mean it to, but if you look at the way that the Democratic Party, and I'm not playing politics, it's just that they're the ones that picked the role. I didn't assign it to them. They're the ones that went batshit crazy the past few years, and it just happens to be that party. I didn't make that name up. If you look at what that party's done with the blacks, with the Indians, and you say, oh, okay, well, we've kept you in HUD housing in inner city. We've kept you on the reservations. Damn, what the hell do we do with these damn Hawaiian nationals that we ain't got nowhere to really send them? then you start to see the ugly side of things, and you kind of go, yeah, well, we don't really have a reservation or inner city to put you in, so yeah.
But
and then you kind of look at the bad shit.
They can't. Well, 1 second. Dave's not here. What's up, dude? I grew up with Dave, my best friend.
Oh, hey, what's up, Dave?
My only real friend, the one that's still there for you when you're pushing 50 years old, What's up? Love you, brother Dave.
Now
But,
I see.
Actually,
So if I do the chat in StreamYard, I get to see all y'all shit. So I'm going, what do you mean, Dave? I don't see no Dave, but I'm looking at the YouTube
that's-
channel.
yeah,
Hey, you can't look in
over
your
here
YouTube.
We're watching
Yeah.
the chat go by.
Yeah.
I think that's why my shit froze up too. I had too many tabs open, so I missed
Probably.
like almost all of that video we're playing. But from what Rescue was just saying, I'll send you guys a video. I'll have to find it, but like you were saying, there's a whole, I don't know what you want to call it, neighborhood, but it's like hidden, and it's all homeless people, and it's in Y&I on the West End, and they basically they're sick of the government, and they don't own land or anything. It's tent city really, but it's all hidden. It's next to the boat. I don't remember what they call it, but that's where they put them all. They're just like, yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I look at what that
It's all
the
about the
guy
money.
was saying. Yeah, I look at what that guy was saying in the video, and I'm looking at what I titled this truth, conspiracy, or classism, and it's actually all three. I come to it's all three. The truth of hey, a fire could start from this. A conspiracy is we're looking at first the Hawaiian government response, and from the beginning of the fire, middle of the fire, all the way to the end, and how are they reacting afterwards? The guy said it. It's all confusion. They're chicken with a head cut off, just running around. Nobody knows what the fuck to do. Nobody understands why. And me being a chief of a search and rescue team, it's it's you have a department. I work with the Department of Emergency Management, and they have a set of systems of what you have to follow. I'm FEMA certified, NIMS certified through FEMA, which is the National Incident Management System. You know who you report to as an outside group, and this person is the top dog. Okay, they give you orders, and then me being a chief, yeah, I'm in charge of my team, but I get the orders from them and I pass it down. And where's the NIMS? Where is FEMA? Where is the Red Cross? When that guy was saying that they they were reaching out to the Red Cross and they got scammed. Wait, that's not the Red Cross then. Who's posing as the Red Cross, and then that
Who
they
let
don't
'em in?
know who let them in.
Yeah,
It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I'm trying to give the Hawaiian government and the federal government the benefit of the doubt, but it's like, good God,
yeah. I've
Joe
been trying
Biden
to
don't
do
give a
that.
shit.
I've been trying to do that for 15 years, man. And
Yeah.
benefit of the doubt part is,
Yeah, it's out the
Oh,
window. So with everything that's going on, I look at it like this. It doesn't matter how it started. It started. Okay. Then we get into the middle of it. It started, and everything is just fucked. The whole thing is fucked. All right. I know at one time I read an article that said that the firefighters thought they put the fire out and went home, but there were other fires. Why didn't they know about these other fires? So was it? We don't know if it was the initial fire that they put out that was all this, or was it the other fires that happened over here and there? We don't know that, and that's why I'm like, thinking about what Reagan said. The 10 most harmful
9
the 9 most harmful words is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Well, that's bullshit because
The fuck you
Well,
are.
but wait, you gotta okay. But you know what? I just heard that again, and I guess with the conversation, you kind of got to give them credit because they're really it's 100% true statement because they really are there to help. It's just help themselves, not help you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they are there to
And
help.
and then it follows it up with classism. We're looking at this like, why did you guys botch this up? And when you dig into the rabbit hole that everybody likes to go down, and they're like, oh my gosh, they passed this bill, they did this, they want to take the land. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they want to take the land? Why did they take the land from why did they take the Native Americans and say, hey, you could be in this reservation? But then later on they were like, no, you gotta we want that land. You gotta go to this reservation over here, and it's all flawed. The government is flawed, and we need the grassroots movements, the people standing up and saying, hey, you know what, since you guys fucked it up, I'm gonna do better than you, and join those groups, join those groups, find look for them, find them, join them, help out as best you can. Like some of them want, some of them need funding, but most of the time all they need is just maybe some gear, or they need, like the guy was saying, they need somebody that can take care of the finances. They need a treasurer, they need a president of the board, whatever the case may be. Because when it comes down to it, like, even most of us are preppers, survivalists, whatever you want to call us. We know when shit hits the fan, we have to rely on ourselves to survive. The government is not going to show up and help us. They're going to help themselves, like Rescue was saying.
Yeah, and the FEMA thing, they're where they're at is, to answer that question, they're staying in 5-star hotels and collecting $1,000 a day each person.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that.
No,
No, see,
the
you got to take the position.
And I'm gonna say this now.
The government's just people, and that's what we need to remember. That word government, while right now it's that particular administration, but those are just spots, and those are people in those spots. So those people just need to be replaced with righteous people, and then that's how you can right the ship. Go ahead. Sorry, Angry. Well, not really sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, he needs to shut up anyways.
You guys can pick the hell out of me. I don't care. I'm used to it.
I only pick one leg at a time, and you only got one, so that's a short conversation.
Hey, at least I know how to take care of myself. That's a good thing. But
well, I don't know. That's up for debate because you started off with 2 and you only got 1. So far the odds ain't looking so good.
Right.
But
I will
the thing
say
about it,
Camo Carl pointed out we're entering into the season because I think that Mayhem's he's getting close to his little latte. Pumpkin spice time.
Well, you know what? While that's a joke, we're getting into the season. Remember, we're only 13. Well, yeah, we're about 12 months, 13 to 12 months away from what? What's going to happen? What do we have coming up?
I don't even think it's going to
Is
be
it that
12 to
close
13
already?
I don't think.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be all 4 of us will probably be up here at some point together again, talking about something else. Just saying.
Yeah, we will. It'll be
yeah.
truth, conspiracy, or whatever.
But
you know,
I honestly think, and you're right, it's all 3 of them. The truth, we actually don't know what the actual how it all started. We've been told what they want us to know. But the thing about it, the conspiracies seem like a lot of them are coming out to be actually correct. A lot of the things that they have called the word the CIA wants to use on all of us, but that's a whole nother story. The conspiracies are actually coming true, and the classism, the government in September, if you want to talk about a conspiracy in September, they're supposed to have a conference on a certain kind of city. Just saying, it's actually happening in Maui in September. So
That's
just throwing
interesting.
that one out, just throwing that out there. So yeah, there's a lot of them. And Miss Nina, I said it earlier in chat. Can you shut the heck up?
Hey, looky here. Nina can just say whatever she wants whenever she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think that's the first thing we all four agreed on. Or three.
Yeah.
I even agreed with it.
Yeah,
I even agreed with it. So yes.
Yep. So, do you guys want to open it up to whoever else wants to come up? Because I saw the Samoan was
Samoan
in there. Samoan was here earlier. So I'd like to. I know he lives in California now, right? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, but I was trying to get as many opinions of Hawaiians, firefighters, people that have some type of subject matter expert. That's a term we used all the time in the military. If you work with certain things, you are that subject matter expert. You know things about that. So, but yeah,
But
I can tell you that all shit flows downhill.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and in your case, sometimes it gets clogged.
Yeah. Like where I just came from. But, yeah.
Right. Yeah, but that's awesome that you were able to get off in time to get up here. That's awesome, man.
Benefits of being your own boss.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And Dave's not here. Actually, has the date of it in chat.
Oh, okay.
September
Oh,
23rd.
No, yeah.
Oh. I see that in the private chat. Do you want to play a little bit of it, Steve? You can play a little bit of it.
Yeah, which one do I have there? Let's see.
Something about the
The
firefighters.
firefighter one?
Yeah.
Full interview.
And I will take mine down. So we're done with them.
Yeah, we're done. Thank you so much for helping me with that.
All right,
AC.
later, AC. Bye.
You're done.
Bye, son.
You're excused.
I'm
Don't
excused.
let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Bless your hearts.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm from the South. I know that's a
That's a compliment.
yeah.
Bonnie shared this one. So the firefighters recount, Bonnie shared this one. So I haven't seen it yet either, but
Okay, this one. All right. I don't know if
I haven't seen this one yet either.
I have. I don't think I have.
And on through the neighborhood. We made our way up a little farther up the block in that neighborhood, and we realized that there was a lot of structures involved. People were still trying to evacuate. It was just too heavy a situation in there. So we decided to push back. We ended up falling back actually right next to the other engine company, right across the street. That house started to be involved within that short span of time. So we decided to kind of pull our attack lines and try and stop it from there. So that's like right at the beginning of where everything started to happen.
Right. What was going through your mind?
At the time we were just involved. We were trying to prevent it from going any farther down Lahaina Luna, even though we were pretty much at the bottom. At that time we were just concentrating on to get the job done, to try and get people out of there, try and stop those house fires at the bottom of Lahaina Luna. And it was, we weren't even in there that long. I don't know what the time frame was. But by that time, there was heavy smoke, heavy heat pushing down. When the wind would push down, it would turn black like midnight. You couldn't see anything. So we were at that house, I don't know how long, right next to another engine company. And then we got the call to evacuate. Our section was to evacuate. And from there, we went out and we tried to exit down Lahaina Luna. And it was still gridlocked. There's still people in their cars. And then we, sorry. Okay. So people, gridlocked still in their cars. We got reports that the top of the neighborhood was open. So we turned around. The other engine company tried to turn around. And by that time, we started to try and make an exit back into the black smoke to the top of the neighborhood. Another engine company was coming down. I got out of the truck, made a face-to-face with their driver, and we're talking, and he was saying that we need to evac. I told him it was blocked on Lahaina Luna. He said it was blocked at the top, which was where we were supposed to go. Then from there, we kind of reversed. We positioned our apparatus with the other original company that was there. And I can't remember if the captains did a face-to-face or can't remember what that communication was like, but the decision was to shelter in place because both of our egresses they were blocked. And from there, we just kind of prepared ourselves, to kind of deal with just deal with what we have to deal with. We set up our hose lines, positioned our apparatus in a way to kind of help give us shelter. And so from there, we were just preparing ourselves, trying to conserve our air, trying to stay cool where we can. It got to a point in the truck that it was just too hot in the truck. So a lot of us, at least our company, because we were with another company, we exited the truck. I think Cap saw, his windshield was bubbling. The side, I saw some, some little smoke streams coming from my steering wheel. So at that point, it was just too hot in our cab. We exited downwind, kind of sheltered in place downwind. I think the other engine company was on their side. And all of us, we just stayed there, trying to seek shelter. And, when the wind would lay down, it was just so hot. The ground was hot. Even to the touch through your gloves, through your protective gear, it was just burning. So we just kind of sat there pretty much trying to wait it out. We tried conserving the water that we could until we really needed it, and we were just there. I believe one of our other firefighters, he noticed another firefighter who seemed a little disoriented. He got up, this other firefighter, and kind of wandered into the heavy atmosphere that was there, out in the open without his pack on. And one of the guys we were with, he went over and helped him back, try and get shelter from the heat and the smoke. And then can't remember how long after that, I remember hearing a police chirp, like a police car chirp. And we heard it for, seemed like about 5 minutes. Here and there. It would come, it would go. And then all of a sudden, out of the smoke, a police SUV rolled up. And one of our firefighter on the other crew, that we were with.
Exactly, Huckleberry.
He opened the door and he's like, "Get in." And we all got up. We all went over. We couldn't open the doors. So, I mean, we're all trying to break the police SUV windows. We can't break the window. It's a police SUV, you know. And so we finally got the doors open. One of the other crew members from the other company collapsed. So a bunch of us, can't remember who, we all carried him over to the passenger side door. We got him up on one of our crew members. Two guys jumped in the front seat. Two guys from the other company climbed over the back seat into the back. I jumped into the back with the other guy on our crew, and we thought we had our guy all the way in. You know, he was already unconscious, and we tried getting him in. We couldn't get him in, and I think we got him high enough to where his the door was like right about it, where the door closes, right about his shin level. So maybe his boots were still out. And it was just a struggle to try and get him in. We're all just trying to pull him up. We couldn't get him up. So it's kind of, we all made a decision that we just got to get out of here, you know? And so we just held him. And we just sped off down Lahaina Luna, you know, in some pretty heavy smoke, finding our way. He did a good job getting us out of there. There were some times, you know, where we started kind of losing the guy who we were holding, but, you know, we made sure we held on. You know, none of his body parts were touching the ground anytime we were moving, you know. Then we got out to, I think, the Aquatic Center intersection. And then from there, we just all bailed out and we all started getting to work on Cap. We got him to the ground, tried cooling him off, and then we got pulses, and so we ended up just doing rescue breathing, you know, tried pouring water on him. There was a bunch of bystanders that came off, you know, offering water. There was an off-duty firefighter as well that was there, that was helping us. I think one of the PD units, I can't remember who he was, but he was there helping us, you know, just make sure we monitor, we kept Cap's pulses, and from there, medics came on scene and we loaded them in. Yeah.
Cap, can you kind of describe it in your words, your experience, like from the beginning that day?
Yeah, so at the station, we heard the chatter on the radio about a fire. With all the chatter coming in, I told the guys, we're probably going to get dispatched. And maybe a couple of minutes after that, we got dispatched, us along with another engine company. So we headed out that way, turned down one of the main roads, turned onto Lahaina Luna, and turned up to Paoa Road, where we saw the other company that we were asked to aid, to help him. So for us, the main thing is, you know, protect life. So our main thing is to stop the fire, and that would stop. If we stop the fire, then, you know, everybody okay. So that's the main thing we're trying to do, is stop the fire, and then everybody be safe. So that's our main goal, is to stop the fire. So we turned the road, went down further down the road. It was kind of obvious that it was too hot already, and the winds are too strong. So we were gonna try and exit, but by that time, the roads were all blocked up with all the people trying to leave the neighborhood. Like Kavika said, we got reports of the top of the road being blocked off, so we were stuck in there. So when we decided to shelter in place and on that road, we did pull a line, tried to protect ourselves with the water. The hose failed. It was too hot. The hose burned. So we had to shut that off, and we had to shelter in the truck. And so I remember went to the side of the truck. I grabbed a bunch of spare bottles, threw it in the cab, because I knew the most important thing was our air. So we got in a truck, tried to stay calm and try to control our breathing. and we're breathing on the bottles. But like Kabiko said, it was so hot in there. The heat just saps your energy. We were just so fatigued. I remember I was trying to even change my bottle, and I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even change my own bottle. I was so fatigued. And yes, I remember looking at the windshield, and the windshield of the truck was failing. And so I was pretty sure that if we stayed there, we weren't going to make it. So actually, they probably didn't even know, but I actually texted my family on my phone, say my goodbyes. But my phone was too hot already, so it didn't go through. The message, luckily, it didn't go through. But then we decided after a while that it's too hot in the truck, so we had to get out. So we got out of the truck and sheltered behind the truck, which kind of blocked us from the heat. It was a little better outside, being sheltered behind the truck. And like you said, another firefighter, another captain, he was trying to help the other people, residents, and he became a little auto-mentored, mental status. So he was walking around, and he actually ended up kneeling on the ground. And while he was kneeling, because we said that the heat, it was so hot, the asphalt was so hot, because he was kneeling on the ground, his knees burned. That's what burned his knees so bad, from kneeling on the ground. So it was never, I know before we heard reports saying that it was drugged, but we never drugged his legs on the ground. It was burnt. And so, yeah, so pretty much like what it said, what Kavika said. Luckily, the other firefighter got out, commandeered a police vehicle, drove back in, and we all got into that vehicle, and he got us out of there.
I know you kind of explained your thought process, but can you, like, I mean, when you say shelter in place, that means you're being surrounded, right? Like, there's nothing really you can do.
That's a last resort. That's a last resort.
What do you think about it all now?
I'm just happy to be alive. Circumstances would have been really bad if the firefighter hadn't come back. There is a good high possibility that a couple of lives would have been lost. Definitely.
What was that moment like when he showed up with a police cruiser?
Oh, just elated, just so happy. And I mean, second chance. Yeah, we all got a second chance.
Kavika, I want to hear your words too. Like, describe your feelings and thoughts when that firefighter one showed up in that police car.
Just get the hell out of here. It's like, let's just go. Yeah, it was definitely, it was just, let's get out of here. And there was no like forethought of what was going to happen next. We're just get in this car. This is our next safe zone, and this is our way out.
And you guys didn't know he was coming, right? Like, when you're sheltering in place, I guess, what was going through your mind then?
At the time, I felt somewhat confident that we would be okay with the, we had some area above us, like a parking lot. We had our truck with water. At the time, I felt confident that we were okay. Felt like I'm glad we weren't put in the situation to where we had to walk out or possibly carry people out. That would have been a totally different story. It's just hard sometimes, like we got out and like a lot of people didn't, like friends, parents, and can we give them a minute? Oh, sorry. I'm good. I'm good.
I wanted to, I mean, it's your hometown, yeah. That, I mean, you guys are heroes. Going in and saving, you know, lives, the community, strangers. But I mean, it's, I think, a different layer for you, right? You're born and raised on that side. You're a Lahaina boy. Can you talk about, I guess, that level of?
Yeah. You know, it's definitely hard, you know, knowing, you know, people not only lost their homes, but, you know, family members. You know, we were in a very difficult situation where we almost lost our lives, but that doesn't compare to people that lost their lives, you know, people that are, you know, people that I knew or friends, family members, and, you know, who maybe didn't even know how fast this fire was coming, or they were trying to leave and they didn't, or they couldn't make it, whether they were consumed by the fire or they're just stuck in traffic and, or whatever it is. It's definitely, I don't think it's really hit a lot of us, you know, even the community. I don't think it's really hit yet, because everyone out there everyone's helping. You know, you got all these private bases that, you know, all the community members, you know, some of my old coaches and some of my friends and family that they have set up, and they're helping the community firsthand. You know, you got boats coming in from off island, bringing it into Kahana, and you know, all these hubs that these guys are just out there helping. I don't think it's had time for them to set in yet, because normalcy hasn't set in yet. And I think, you know, what.
All right.
Sorry, my
asked
shit was
Steve.
frozen up again.
Oh, it's okay. I asked Steve to go ahead and pause it right there. As you guys can see, I put up there, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the action despite the fear. These guys right here, they're heroes. You heard everything that they just said, how hot it was, and yet they still went in there.
Hey, aloha, Prepper. Good to see you.
Aloha, Prepper. Aloha,
Aloha,
Prepper. How have you been? Oh, you just made my day. I'm so happy to see you. Aloha.
What are your thoughts of what you just heard, AC? And we'll go down the line.
These men are the I wish you could actually put their picture in the dictionary of these two men and every man that stood with them during all of this, because they are heroes. They have a lot of courage for what they've done, and that is a bit. Listening to their story had me to tears, because I was sitting here thinking about, what if that was my hometown? These men grew up in Lahaina, in Maui. What if that was my hometown and I had to watch people get burned? The things that they probably seen that day are probably something no one should ever have to see. And I don't care who you are. That story is a very telling story, and I'm happy it's caught on tape. I'm happy that it was actually caught on camera, because this is, and I hate to say this, I'm happy Steve's computer froze, because the video showed what it looked like after the fires. I mean,
Yeah.
these
Compared
men,
to when I asked them to pause it.
yes, yeah. I mean, I want to say I wish I could, if they ever see this video, thank you for being there for your friends and family, because that is very telling. They ran into danger to try to help people get out of danger. So thank you. And thank you to all the men and women that do that on a daily basis.
Yeah. Rescue?
Man. I don't know. It was probably a little different for me, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure Yankee gets it. No, I could put myself in that spot, and man, you don't understand when you're in the middle of that and you get told to shelter in place. That's not good. So I didn't go to Afghanistan, so I ain't been in no fucking jihad gunfight, so I don't know about that stuff. But I know when you're out here and you're surrounded by flames, and then all of a sudden across your radio you get told to shelter in place, that's some scary shit. Because then all of a sudden you're going to whip out your little fucking fire blanket, you're going to start digging your trench, and you're going to lay down and cover her up, and you're going, I don't really know what the fuck's coming, but shit, because that's just your reaction. So, and I can only imagine them dudes sitting there and you start watching your windshield bubble, which there's that glass thing. I'm just pointing that out. And you think, man, because yeah, you when you're in one of those trucks, that's kind of your safety zone. And all of a sudden your safety zone is now compromised, and it's like, oh shit. And dude, you gotta, I don't know what kind of gear, who had what on SCBAs, if anybody was toting anything, but for the most part, most of that full bunker gear is anywhere from about, I'd put it around probably 65-ish pounds on up to about 100, maybe 125, depending on what else you're carrying. So you're sitting here, you're doing this, and you're humping it in that bunker suit, and you've got the heat on you, and you just, dude, it'll exhaust you. And I get fascinated by that stupid ass question, what went through your mind? It's like, first off, it's survival, and where are the victims? There you go. I need to keep breathing and find where are we going? That's what's on your mind. It's, that's not your position. Your boots on the ground, your position's to find somebody, find a structure, find a point, start trying to do something. That's what you do. And so that whole weird question of what was going through your mind. And when you're surrounded, dude, and I don't know if y'all could catch that in some of those scenes, but when they were showing like the windshield and you saw the whipping, those embers going across, dude, that's the shit. You can have a spot right here. You can stop your truck and have an ember fly across, and next thing you know, you have a fire going on your right side, just like that. So to be in the middle of that, and then when holding the guy in the Tahoe, it's like, we got to get our guys out, and it's, look, we can't get you all the way in here, because you got to remember, when you got bunker gear on, you're damn near almost twice as big as you are, because you have the bunker gear on. So you got people stacked up in here, and they're literally holding this dude going down the road, and you just kind of have to visualize that, and to know that, and he's sitting here trying to talk, and I can just totally get where he's at, dude. You're asking him to relive something, and he hasn't even had time to mentally process it first. It's just, that's kudos to them. I'm not going to criticize any of their actions without knowing details. Yes, I gripe about beach water, and yeah, I think that if they don't have a rig to run along that beach line that they can transfer water from that ocean up onto the land, a transfer pump style brush truck, only a sand truck, then maybe they'll do that now. I don't know. So I can tell by his tone that they weren't set there to just watch it burn. And his reaction is not just let it go. So his tone and his comment, his face, this interview would debunk that whole little firefighters are in on it shit. And you can hear it in his voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like, yeah. Dude, I love you, Rescue. I love you, Rescue, man. But no, actually, I've always had utmost respect for firefighters, because Yeah, it's just they're on a level where they put their lives at risk all the time, and they don't think twice. It's just that's what they do, and I agree with rescue. Yeah, I mean, I've been in some shitty situations growing up in Detroit. I remember them, but if you ask me what was going through my mind, I couldn't tell you. I was surviving. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I disagree with rescue 100%, and I have the utmost respect for firefighters. I wish Chadwick was here right now. Whatever happened to Chadwick?
I know, right?
I haven't seen Chadwick in a
A
while.
couple of good combos with him, and all of a sudden he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. Hope he's all right. But
Hey, welcome, Virginia.
What's up?
How are you?
What's up, Roots?
I'm good.
Virginia, aloha, sister.
Aloha. So
What are your thoughts?
I'm about 5 or 6 generations deep in Hawaii. That's where my people come from, the Japanese side. But I'll put that on pause to say my thoughts on this exact situation. Is this, and this might be a question for rescue or people who have experience in this arena, but this gentleman, both of these men, they're describing their experience, and reading between the lines, I'm wondering, is there a lack of resources, a lack of organization, a lack of actually rescue? I agree, like not having some kind of pump transfer thing with the water. I've seen people in chat mention, well, the water is holy to them, they're not going to use it. That's ridiculous. At the end of the day, when you're saving lives, you're going to use the water, you know? Like
that truck behind that guy right there has water in the tank right now, probably about a 500, maybe 750. Looks like it's probably a single rear X or probably just a 500-gallon tank sitting on that truck right now.
Right. So my thought is this happens all over the country. Of course, I have an affinity for Hawaii, but this happens all over the country. What do you think? I'm kind of like ping-ponging the question back to rescue a little bit, or anyone in chat with experience. What is the problem? Is it resources? Is it leadership? Is it because they definitely get funding out of our property taxes? You know, you read the little list of what that goes to, and it includes your EMS and your services, you know, the various state income taxes or whatever, right? So what do you think the problem is? Because obviously the heart of the people going to do that job, they're in it to win it, right? They don't care about bureaucracy when they're trying to save your life. They don't care about divisive issues when they're trying to save your life. So where do you think the divide is?
In the management and the upper level management that's up into even the government side of it, and then the talking. Because one thing about firehouses is you can like hear something on Facebook or see an Instagram, but nothing moves in that station house until it gets officially deployed. Well, that's going to come from an alert. So that alert's going to issue that deployment. And then you're going to go roll out from that house. We'll see if somebody intentionally delays that call out, you know, then that's your upper management. I don't, and they'll probably have some, we'll see what happens if there's a recovery. If they can get back to regular Hawaii, you know, regular Maui, then I would think that some of these guys are fixing to start developing tactics to deal with this if it ever happened again, kind of thing, because that's just your mentality. We do that down here with the woods. You start trying to figure out different ways, different plans if this happens, because now you've gone through this. And so I would like to think on their end, they would start calculating ways to counter this if it ever comes up again. Of course, if it ever comes down to where this was upper management and somebody not making the call, then you're just going to have a bunch of pissed off firefighters, because you just, man, I don't know how to explain it, because it's hard to say without sounding like you're braggadocious or egotistical. And I'd never want to sound that way, but dude, it's just, all I know is, and I'm not trying to heroize them, but it's a different field in a firefighter, because you have to be willing to, you don't give a shit, male, female, white, black, brown, Democrat, Republican, gay, straight, and none of that matters. It's just, there's a human being in this situation. I've got to get in there and get them out, or this structure is on fire. It can contain and carry over. I need to get this down. There's never a who lives here. I don't know how many times I put off of crack houses, dude. And you sit there and you go, why are we wetting down the crack house so that they're just going to come back in next week and be selling more crack out of it? But this is what you do. This is your role. This is your job. This is what you sign up for. So that's why I've got, I guarantee you, if those dudes going down that road holding that dude inside that Tahoe, if they had been going by and one person had walked out of a door, they would have slammed the brakes on that bad boy, dropped him on the road. Somebody would have jumped out and went and grabbed them people. And if they had to climb on the roof, they would have been laying on the roof with them inside their bunker coat going, go, 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 go. You're just going to do whatever you can. It's a human life. And that's all I know from my perspective, the people I've been around. Your first mentality is saving lives. Save a life. That's the goal number one. Save a life. So I would think that these guys on the firefighting level would take this and they'll adjust their training. They'll adjust their tactics is what they'll do. They'll learn from this. Now, what happens on the upper level, well, this is, to me, yeah, there's a nefarious shit in the mix, but
yeah.
And sorry to drag on so long, Roots.
Oh no, you're good. I do have a question for you. When they were describing everything that because I don't know, and I'm pretty sure most people that aren't in firefighting doesn't know. Like, he was describing that the hose was melting. They could feel, how hot does a fire have to be for that to, take effect on you inside all this gear?
Dang, I don't know. Yankee could probably help me because he's more current. I think I want to say it's like 350 to 450, 500 degrees. And then the heat will start penetrating your suit and you start feeling that heat inside. I've actually been burnt on my back and you don't even see. And here's an ironic part, just like that little laser video, you'll never see a mark. I was literally burnt, had major burns all down my back. And there was not one mark on my suit, because what happens is your fire retardant coating on that starts to wear down, and then the heat starts to penetrate through it. Well, now it's inside an insulated box, so that heat just intensifies, but it doesn't actually burn the suit.
Oh,
but
okay.
And so the hoses are the same way. Just real quick, one sec, Racy. So the hoses would be the same way. You have a protective coating around them, but once that gets rubbed off and it gets dragged and it gets used, they become weak. Well, what'll happen is it'll start to melt the rubber inside. There you go, Yankee, after 500.
500. So, what I don't know. So I got to ask these questions. What does a normal wildfire burn at? Does anybody know? Like, what is the degree?
It would depend.
Yeah, just your fuel source and the wind and everything, humidity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I do have a question for Rescue, because, and even to Yankee, since he's in chat and he actually is a firefighter. You were talking about the training that these guys will go through. Do you think the political aspect might not let them have that training? Because the political side of it has to pay for it. So could that be an issue down the road with all of this going on? Could the political side of it told them they didn't need this training? Let's say they had it, they were offered it 2 years ago, and the government told them, the commissioners or the city council, the mayor, whoever it might have been, could they have went and said, this is what we want, this is something we think we should do, and the government came in and said, no, I don't think you need that. There's no reason for you to worry about that.
No, they'll design their training plan and format and what they see and what they'll need, and then if anything, they'll get choked out on supplies. Like if they needed funding, then they might get, oh, we can't afford that funding for that this year, and blah 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 blah. And they might get put off that way, but those guys would still figure out a way.
All right. Because I've never, with like when I was a volunteer, our town would actually give us the funding. If the money was there, they would give us the funding for training and everything. We didn't have to go through all, like with Maui, I'm figuring it's a lot bigger than what my little town was in Ohio. So that's why I was asking that. So thank you, Rescue.
Moose, excuse me. Took a big
Oh,
hit. Something.
I wanted to say I just wanted to say I'm sorry to AC because he's hit Ohio.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
man. Sorry about that, AC.
Yeah. Trees ignite at 600, then flames heat to over 1,000 degrees.
Fire is just, people just need to remember when you make your little fire, how close can you stand?
yeah.
When you burn your leaves, how often do you back up after it gets going? It's a heat source.
Yeah, when you have that, and you go camping and you have that, bonfire, and you dig like that hole and you just keep putting wood in, and then like 12, 13 hours later, you just throw another log on it and it starts right back up.
Yeah, and I'll tell you like this. There was a when we cleared our land, we had a whole bunch of trees stacked up in a corner, and it took me forever to try to get it to, because the trees are really big, and I couldn't really get it to light and stay lit without some type of accelerant. So I was always thinking to myself, it was like, if I'm having trouble having these lit without an accelerant and continuously put an accelerant on, how are these wildfires, especially with green? Because I had to wait until everything died, for it to burn better than green. And I'm like, how are these trees that are so green in nature, how are they burning so well without any accelerant?
Underbrush causes a lot of the forest fires. They do poor forest management. And so you end up with a lot of all your dry stuff on the base. And which nature's been doing this since the beginning. It'll purge Greenland and it'll grow back, and a lot of times it even grows back better than before. But like around here, we have intentional burns. We controlled burns all the time because they're burning off a field, and we have forestry service. So we have the paper products and the lumber service around here inside the woods.
Yeah, it's just it's
pines,
interesting about fire.
You have lighter pines too. Lighter pines down here. Lighter pines will make a fire blaze once those start catching. They just roar because that is an extra fuel.
Yeah, I know. The pine sap and all that. Like that's how when we were living in the hunting cabin, we had a heater, a wood stove heater, and that's how we always, like, just a little tiny chunk of pine that we would put in there, and that was how we lit it without any other accelerant. And you put too much in there, you will know.
Right.
You will know, because it will burn the hottest you've ever felt.
Night, Chris.
Night, Chrissy.
Night, Chrissy.
See you, Chrissy.
Much love, Chrissy.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I know Bonnie wants us to go ahead and finish this, saying that the end is really, really interesting. You ready, Steve?
Yep.
All right. Go ahead.
Work? Yeah, there we go. I don't know if it's my computer or my mouse, but yeah, here we go.
Once that kind of starts setting in, it's going to be very hard for the community, like when the dust settles from all of this, like just the people can't leave. That's going to be the hardest thing, like We don't want to get priced out of paradise, you know, generational homes, families there for generations. Like, they can't lose their homes, man. Like, they can't afford to pay a mortgage and a rental payment after all this assistance runs out. You know, so there's gotta be a way where all these families can stay, because that's what makes Lahaina, that's what makes Hawaii Hawaii. It's not it's the people, you know. Yeah, I've my brother, I mean, luckily my parents' home was spared because it's above the bypass. But I have, you know, my great grandparents' home, which I care for, uncles, aunties, cousins, countless other, you know, friends, families, coaches, you know, and it's just devastation, and they can't leave, you know. Hopefully there's some kind of assistance that will carry them through the long run, you know what I mean? And not just 6 months, because everyone has food, they all have shelter, whether it's staying with family members or at the hotels, but what happens after that, you know?
As a firefighter, what do you want to tell the Lahaina community?
Wrong link, mayhem. It's
You
the
know.
StreamYard link instead of Maui.
Oh shoot! Sorry.
Like, we were there, we tried as much as we could with what we had. You know, we were there all night. We didn't sleep. I mean, I know there are a lot of community members there, friends that were up there in the smoke, that they were doing the same thing, you know, pulling people out. Just know that we were there all night. We're gonna be there, and we'll always be there, you know, to do what we can for our community. You know, because it's, you know, it's not just me. There's other people from Lahaina that work for the department, work for the police, work for medics. You know, it's gonna take all of us together with the people of Lahaina to help rebuild and keep people there. So we're not gonna leave. We're gonna keep doing what we do, trying to help where we can.
Cap, going back to you, how long have you been doing this?
24 years.
24 years. This, I know it's been described, the fire's been described before, but in your words, I mean, in your experience, I mean, describe the fire.
It's nobody can say that they've experienced it. This is a one in a lifetime. I can describe it as a worst disaster in the century. It's something different for us here because we usually win. Whenever you go, there's every fires, we usually win. We usually put together and win. And this is one that we didn't win.
You know, as captain of your crew, I guess you guys are all in it together. But I'm sure you talk to them all the time. But what do you hope they know as their captain? Like, what do you want to tell them?
I'm responsible for them. I'm supposed to make the decisions, the right decisions. We were just lucky this time we got out. Yeah, I mean, we're like a family. So it was a close one. Yeah. We tried our best. Everybody tried their best to a point where people got hurt. Some people even died trying their best. We almost got hurt or died trying our best. I don't think there's anybody in the county that didn't try their best. But we all stick together and we'll pull through.
I don't really know that where you folks were. I know you gave street names, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, but someone said that the goal was to try to save some of the kupuna Kalimaholu? Is that where you folks were, or was that?
I don't remember that specific instructions, but we were just the first engine company that was on scene there directed us in their vicinity. So we just headed that way and we just went to work.
Is Kalimaholu near where you guys were, or were you guys just
That's higher. That's
higher?
up.
Okay.
Yeah. So we weren't even.
Okay.
That wasn't part of what our assignment was.
I see. Okay. Is there anything else you wanna? I guess starting with you, Cap. Like anything else you wanna say that I didn't ask?
No, that's it.
You know, it's been difficult at times. You know, most times, just all of us, we internalize it, but I know it's affecting, you know, not only us first responders. I know it's affecting everyone in the community, and you know, people went through events and seen things that, you know, you shouldn't see, and it's going to take a long time to heal. It's going to take a long time to heal from the loss of life, the loss of the memories that, you know, my parents, all the community of Lahaina, all my relatives, friends, and family. Like, it's going to take a long time to kind of start that healing process, you know. But I know if there's one community, Lahaina is going to get through it, you know. And I will be there every step of the way to help, you know, in whatever capacity I can to make that happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Man, oh man. I got to process that stuff.
Dang, that is
one of the key things, like he said, and this is they've never seen anything like this before.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you start judging the response, I mean, if you already had a written out plan, you should have submitted it to them, but it's easy to sit in the armchair and judge people as you watch after the fact. But to be in the middle of that and trying to decide what you need to do in something that you've never experienced before, more better to all the rock solid people that had it all figured out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very easy. You know, you see it in everything like when it comes to first responders. It's easy to sit in your chair, watch a video and go, oh, well, if I was there, I would have done this. Or you should have done that, or they should have done this. It's very easy to do that. You know, I face it all the time, you know, like, accidents almost happened in front of me. I have a camera. I hit a button on it. It records it, lets my company know, and then I'll have my boss say, you know, what you should have done is you should have backed off a little bit, gave a little bit more distance, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, in a perfect world, that'll work. We don't live in a perfect world, you know. It's you
Dude,
have
his family. That's what was really ironic too. That was his family. So he's rolling up on his family shit. Like,
Yeah.
this is my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. These are I've grown up with my friends. And
It's like, yeah, my grandpa used to always say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's like, yeah, should have, but
coulda.
it's too late. Like, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like, what?
Mayor just said that in my chat. Mayor just
I
put
would've
that in
done.
chat.
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020.
Should.
Oh yeah, there you go, Mayor. Yeah.
Yep, Mayor. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Right.
You know.
Everyone's always got that. What I would have done, like, well, you weren't there, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So
And
I mean, they only had what they only had what they had, and they used what they could use, and you know, thank God that those guys were able to get out of there. And like Rescue said, you know, it's one of those shit hits the fan moments when you get over the radio, shelter in place, you know.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Ain't nobody coming.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody coming. Shelter in place. That means shit's bad all around you, and we can't get to you.
Yep. That is the pucker up my butthole time.
Because of where I live, I've actually had that twice in about 8 years living down here in Alabama. They said, because of where I was, they said shelter in place. It started to get rough. And believe me, I've seen, and I feel sorry for those gentlemen. I feel sorry reliving that and telling that story. Because you could tell it was breaking their hearts what they saw. You can see it, and
Well, and
I
you
don't
know, he
ca-
caught it. That guy said it. See, they lost that one, and you don't understand how that feels because you don't lose.
Yeah,
you don't lose, and you never tell yourself you lost. Even if there were 5 people in that house and all you got were 2 out, you didn't lose. You won 2 lives, so you saved 2. You always, but see, they're not considering themselves winning right now because so much was lost, and that's a mental jacking right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell it was breaking my heart, but having both of them have to relive it, and you know, I have it because of you know, me deploying, but I could tell they had survivor's guilt. They felt guilty that they survived while others perished, and they wished
Well,
they
you
could have
couldn't
done
do more. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm on a different island, and this shit's like way too emotional for me, man.
Well, with you, it hits close to home. It could happen on your
Well, yeah,
island.
it does, man. Because I'm like, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. I want to start crying.
Hey, virtual hug, bro. If you cry,
Right.
I love you.
But no,
it's
is,
okay.
like,
Grown men cry, bro.
The aloha, when people say they live with aloha, is so real. Like, yeah. So I don't know those guys. I've never met those dudes, but they're still family.
That's what I was about to say. That they're more like your family, even though you've never met anybody on that. You might have met people on that island, and it's like you see the raw emotions from Steve, and
Later,
he's
Dave.
on a different island.
Yeah,
much love, Dave. Love you, brother. Love you, man.
Yeah,
see you, Dave.
I have a sign above my kitchen that says Ohana means family, and it really is a thing. And that's something I didn't want to bring up earlier in the context of watching the video, but whether or not they're, on the conspiracy side of things, right? Whether or not there was a DEW or some governmental action or whatever, I can say from seeing it for years and years, decades, that any opportunity our leaders have to take down a native population, and that includes Hawaii, it includes the natives here in North America, it's like, or the Alaska natives, they kind of just wait for them to breed out. And I saw this in my own family. It slowly bred out, and people went to the mainland, and my grandmother lost her home. Well, shit, she was given pennies for something that really she got scammed at the end of the day, you know, and it just, they are squeezing out locals and whatever. And we always talk about Hawaii being a democratic, they're almost socialist, right? Well, we've kind of cornered them into that in some ways, you know. The natives they're kind of, that's their reservation. They don't have a whole lot of choice. And we've been doing this for a long time rather than outright kill them, which that has happened as well. But I mean, we're just squeezing out the culture and the people, breeding them out, as it were, and, you know, for dominance.
Follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money. Whether it was some nefarious plot or not, the fact is, I hate to say it this way, but some rich
Sorry,
white
it
dude
kicked
or
over to the internet. But yeah, I hear you.
is gonna make a profit off of this, or Oprah.
It's
you
not
know,
us
whatever.
people. It's the government.
It's
Keeps
yeah,
on
it's
doing
the
this
government.
shit.
It's they. It's
You know,
it's
and
those people. Yeah.
it's high time. I heard something the other day, and I'm gonna start using this. A people of sheep breed a government of wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
they were outnumbered, though. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, they are outnumbered, and that, you know, you got the people that are peaceful and avoid violence, and they're the flock. Then you have the wolves that use violence against that flock. And then there are those that face the violence and the wolves, and those are called the sheepdogs. And I always want to know, like, I know I'm a sheepdog. Is everybody else a sheepdog?
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, we're the sheepdogs. We're to protect the flock. You know, and even if it's just doing something as simple as a live stream and bringing out different cultures and presenting it to everybody, doing things like this, doing what AC is doing, you know, doing the Constitution, doing what Rescue does, you know, just a hangout place to talk, BS, vent, you know, doing what Virginia does is get on everybody else's panel.
And vent and pull.
Yeah, and vent. Yeah, doing what Steve does. Doing what Steve does, getting everybody through music. You know, building up those relationships.
It is a full moon. Facts.
No,
I mean.
Oh yeah, tonight's the blue moon.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Blue moon.
But it's isn't it like the biggest blue moon we've ever had, or something?
I heard something about it's supposed to be like a double blue moon or something, like 2 nights
Yeah.
in a row or something like that.
Something like that. Like it's a weird phenomenon.
I'll have to check my spam box and see what the aliens said they were doing on the moon this week.
Yeah. No, but Mayhem, you're
Well-
right. You know, all of us coming out, just getting it out there, different points of view, different cultures. You know, there are some people here connected to the islands. There's people that are connected to doing the EMS services, things like that. It is a really good amalgam of trying to fetter out what the hell is going on with, because something stinks, and we all kind of have our little pinch on it. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't think any of us do, but something stinks.
Yeah, and it's usually
Something's
the bullshit.
fishy.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta
some
look
shit
at
in the
fishy.
mix.
You got to look at it too. Even if it didn't stink, it would still stink because look at the last how many years that's
Wow.
like, okay, well, you've been lying about this, you've been lying about that, you've been lying about this and that. So it's like anything. It's like the boy that cried wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been
Yeah,
going after
because-
that land for a while.
And
Right. Yep.
another thing too is I've got this information. I didn't see the news segment, but I got this from Don't Walk Run Productions. and he was talking about the Biden visit to Maui, and I think the show is called Morning Joe. I think that's what it is, with the Joe, whatever his name, and his little
Joe Scarborough. Yeah.
yes, Joe Scarborough. He straight up lied, because there are people out there that are sharing, going live and stuff like that, sharing the Biden, reception of how the locals are, and they're flicking them off and everything. And Joe Scarborough is over there. It's propaganda. If you look at this, from all three of these local newspapers, they said it was a great reception, but the editor was from Washington D.C. and she doesn't live in fucking Hawaii. So, when you see
Well, how
stuff
about
like that,
this?
you're like, what the
It
hell?
was I think it was in 2020. Dr. Jill was here, and it was at Waipahu, which is the next city over, Waipahu High School, and I was there, and there was hundreds of people out there with FJB, and just it was insane. It was crazy how many, but same thing. They put in the paper that, they welcomed her with open arms. Who?
Yeah, this is open
I was
arms.
there. Who welcomed? I
This
was
is open
there.
arms.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now we know that. Hey, I am welcoming all of you on my panel with open arms. Just saying.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Are
Mayhem.
you
Did you say
telling
something?
us we're- Are you saying we're number one there, Mayhem?
Yes, you're all number one. We're number one. We're number one.
And V put it perfectly. Joe Scarborough, ex-Republican, running a dum-dum. Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, I think I know the next one that Mayhem could do, because when I was the reason he picked this one was me and him was one night, I think it was Sunday night, I got into an upset mood and started talking about the Second Amendment, and someone shared the last clip that I shared. The first 5 minutes, they told me that's what they wanted me to play, and it was like, he was like, yeah, I think I know what I'm gonna do Wednesday. And that's how that all came. And I mean, yeah. There's so much going on in the government, it's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, and not to mention how disrespectful Biden was by falling asleep when he was there in Hawaii.
Oh, dude, all of it.
Yeah.
Between the no comment, the $700, the falling asleep, and it's like, what?
Yep. And then on top of that, speaking of the locals, why would you censor the locals and tell them not to be tweeting, not to be on Facebook, not to be live streaming, if there is nothing absolutely to hide? Because it's making Joe look bad. I mean, well, he does that perfectly well on his own, he doesn't need any help, but we can help him along, why not? But yeah, when I heard about that, I think wasn't it on one of your streams or something? Somebody mentioned that in chat or something. Steve, I think it was, or Nina said something about it, and I was like, "Shit, really? Really?" It was somebody else's stream. I didn't even hear about that. But it was like, why tell them that they cannot? And it's because of the video that we saw earlier about the burnt car, even though, we don't know if it was DEW rescue went over it, and it looks like it just got really hot and burnt up, and, there's evidence of that, but maybe it was people like that. They were like, hey, no, don't be doing any more tweets or Facebook or anything like that.
Right. Whose was that? I know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to. I think.
Yeah, I know you were there.
I might have been stream sharing also, but I remember that exact conversation.
Was it Ronnie's? Could have been Ronnie.
It might have been.
Might have
Or
been
you know
Ronnie.
what? It might have been. It might have been this past Sunday when Ronnie couldn't make it, but and then David Devine. I don't know, but I know that exact conversation that you're talking about. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't place it to what channel it was, or if I was stream sharing, or but yeah. But
Yeah.
exactly, that's like a great point. Why would you tell the people of Hawaii to
Right.
don't do that, don't listen to them, or don't like feed into that. Just
Yeah, because
what?
it goes against the narrative. If
Right.
the locals, are there, and I mean, I said earlier, Jason Momoa. I love Jason Momoa. But when I heard him say, "Don't go to Maui," I was like, "Why not?" The tourist businesses are relying on people to go and help out.
Yes. If you can
Exactly.
go, be a blessing. If you can be a
Yeah,
blessing
like
to
I
one
was
of them,
saying
do it.
earlier, the best way to support is to go on vacation.
Yeah,
Well, see,
literally.
they'll restrict some of that too because they're going to do the mask, and you watch the airlines will pick up the
Oh
mask.
yeah, they're trying to bring that back too. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's starting to fall into place.
Well, and we're getting closer to November and 24, and I know people don't want to do but it's a political thing, dude. That it's all coming to a pinnacle on that, and so.
Well, it's like I used to say back to Ron, Dangerous Freedom. I said it back then. I was like, anything that's done in the dark will come to the light, and I mean, even to the point with the masks and the
yeah.
What do they say now? We need to come out with a new one that works. So you're saying that it didn't work,
right?
but you still mandated people lost their jobs, all this shit but you're admitting that it didn't, and now you're gonna try to do it again.
My wife works with a lady, and she just found out 3 days ago her son in his 30s has been starting to have chest problems and stuff, and went myocarditis, and yep, he got the poke.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of heart problems from the pokety poke.
But
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, and
this
what do they
is
mean
going.
by one that'll work? What do they mean by it? You know what I mean?
Well, and they say that the strain, that the next version that's coming is actually more prone to attach to the people that already got the others than the unvaxxed. Go figure that.
Each one has to be worse than the previous for this to work, It's
very
Oh
true,
yeah,
Travis. Look
what
here.
Meredith said. That's the other disrespect, comparing his kitchen fire with what yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I know, man. Almost lost his cat. Me and Jill almost lost our cat.
And he even lied. He even lied about it.
Yeah.
His house wasn't struck by lightning. It was a kitchen fire. For crying out loud.
And he lied. He lied about the severity of the damage. It was only contained to the kitchen.
The kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. He made it seem like the whole house burnt down, and they were inconvenienced because they had to stay in a hotel, which was probably like a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
Which is what these people can't even do.
They can't even do that. So he is so out of touch, and I honestly cannot believe from what Steve was saying with the whole Jill coming out there, and just the amount of people with open arms, there's no way this guy got more votes.
No.
Right.
No, there's no freaking way. And they all and with what we're seeing and talking about, the COOF is going to come out again. Is going to be another variant. That's another way to control people and say, hey, you can't come outside, but you could do the mail-in ballot, because I believe the mail-in ballot was 100% non-fraudulent at all.
And they're so out of touch on top of that that they did it once that they're so out of touch that they're like, well, it worked last time. Nobody caught on.
Yeah.
You know, like that's their mentality.
Well, they control the media, and that's the earpiece to the majority of the country is the media.
And I'm gonna say this, and I don't know how far you guys have went down this. Go look Operation Paperclip, MK Ultra, Ultra, Operation Mockingbird, and Operation Lockstep. There's your answers, people.
Oh, that's where I think a lot of these alien stories and all this stuff comes from. That's just straight up paperclip stuff. That's like, here, don't look over here. Don't pay attention that the Congress is fixing to start an investigation into the dipshit DA in Georgia or the other Jack guy. See, don't pay attention to that. Look, I think there might have been some alien saucer that started this over here. Y'all need to dig into that. Don't look at this.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to this. That bankruptcy records that just came out now with the audio recording of Joe Biden. You know, you don't need to pay attention to none of that shit. We need to focus on this stuff.
Yep.
That's.
But yeah,
I found it ironic. Think about it. 23. I don't know how everybody's at least 35 and up. So within the last 30 years, I'm sorry. In 23, all of a sudden we have congressional hearings over aliens and UFOs. What? Where did these people just up and pluck them out going, wait, you picked a hell of a time to come out with all that. Not to mention, I do find it funny to think that aliens have been here this whole time, because when you look at us from the 30s to 2023, we've evolved so much in our technology, but not the aliens that have been here ever since. They stayed the same. They're still the same silver saucer. It's still the same round object. It's kind of like
I don't know.
I want to see a finger or
I
something.
I don't know. I've actually seen an alien the other day. She had like pink hair. She had like all this, you know, facial tattoos and all that. And I'm just like, real skinny. You know, walked really funny and everything. You know, and you know, like most people look at it and be like, oh, that's a liberal. I'm like, no, that's a fucking alien.
Where were you at when you saw this?
Oh,
he was in stall 7.
And you were in stall 8, Schwab.
So it's an alien because it was less than $20, huh?
No, hey, $20 is $20, man.
They didn't learn our currency, damn it. You only got 10.
30.
No. Well, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'm gonna let everybody go around. Last
says
words.
you.
Yeah, it says I. You guys could go ahead and start. I gotta start driving down the road. I gotta get to Forest Park.
Shit, you still gotta drive tonight.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to find that picture. I was trying to find my pictures from that Joe Biden thing, but shit, I don't remember what month it was. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, you guys have you know, you got 5 minutes to do your last bit. Go ahead, AC.
I think with everything we've seen here, like it said, and I will, like the thumbnail said, truth, conspiracy, or classism, it's all three. I honestly think it's all three of the, with what happened over in Maui. I think it's all three because the higher ups want the land. A lot of the conspiracy theories that's out there might be true, might not be true, but a lot of them, a lot of things have, and the truth that they gave us, or they want us to believe, doesn't it really exist? But I've enjoyed this. Thank you to Rescue. Thank you, Steve and Virginia. Good to have you up here too, because this I've actually enjoyed listening from different perspectives and people that have a little more knowledge than I do, and it's been fun. And Mayhem, thank you for letting me come up and off to Rescue.
I mean, yeah, I think that a natural event happened that started the fire, but I think that it's total, all the control of it, that the broadcasting everything is nefarious. It's mixed up with the rest of this corrupt ass government that's doing a major power shift. And so I think there's going to be some more. I don't think we're done yet. And I don't know, man. I appreciate you having me up, Mayhem, and I appreciate being with you. And I just share my experience. So I mean, take with what I say with a grain of salt. You know, you can think I'm full of shit. I don't care. I only share what I kind of. I don't dwell off of facts, just things I've experienced. So that's what I share, and that's just me, man. So, and I'll just leave everybody with: be sure and make your day a great day, because the choice is yours. You don't have bad days unless you decide to have one.
Yep. Steve?
Yeah, just me. I've come to the realization that can't trust the government no matter what they say. And other than that, I agree with Rescue 100%. Your day's only going to be great unless you make it great. And like I always say, have a beautiful day, beautiful morning, a beautiful day, a beautiful night, whatever it is. Much love, much aloha. Always pay it forward, and always spread aloha.
Virginia?
Amen.
Well, I agree overall with everybody as far as there's a little bit of truth, a little bit of conspiracy, a little bit of, I can't see the other. Oh, classism. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I think this is an important time in the next year and a half. Really pay attention to what we consider real news, what we consider truth, what we consider as some kind of big master plan, because we're going to get thrown with a bunch of shit. And I've seen a lot of tidbits that can really spin you off. Someone mentioned in chat earlier about, you know, how much of this is a real crisis or manufactured. We're going to see that consistently to keep everybody off. So these convos, it might look like doing nothing, but actually we've got eyes on the ground. We've got people with family there. We've got, you know, some idea with experience in what they dealt with. Honestly, I trust and rely on more of you between this panel and chats and whatever, especially the people with eyes out there for what's actually going on. And so discernment, people, straight up. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you, all of you, so much for coming up here. AC, thank you for helping me with the videos and your input. Rescue, you taught me a lot about firefighting and how fires react. And I hope that everybody in the chat got a little bit of a lesson there. And Steve, thank you for coming up and sharing your aloha and ohana with us. I appreciate it so much. And Virginia, you're always welcome up here. And if anybody has any other like topics you want me to cover, controversial topics, you know, something that some people may not want to talk about, I do it where I give you guys 3 options. You guys can email me.
Well, I just want to tell you, so we want to know what the white stuff in the White House was and how much was it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll do that one. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys enjoy this, I'm like I said, I give 3 options because I'm not trying to convince you that it's the truth, it's the conspiracy, or it's classism. It's just
It's not what you said before you let us up here, Mayhem. I mean, we had to sign this stupid document that we were going to go along with your spiel.
Yeah.
You weren't. Hey, that was a non-disclosure
You mean-
agreement, and you weren't supposed to disclose any of that information.
Yeah, joke's on you. The tech's going to bounce.
I mean, I could have said what I wanted to. Shit.
We've already figured that one out.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, but anyways, if you guys like this, we're gonna cover more very controversial topics. And if you have a topic, email me. You could either email at mayhemstudios@yahoo.com, and I can't remember the other one. It's in my about section because I don't use the other one that much.
So in other words, don't email him on that one because he won't ever see it.
No, I'll
Exactly.
see it. I just don't use it that much.
It might be a couple weeks down the road.
Yeah. So, God bless everybody, and thank you so much for joining in. Tune in next week for another one. Also, before we go, make sure you guys go get your own Tactical Mayhem shirt from Ghost Designs, available at www.ghostdesigns.shop.
And real quick, can I say, everyone in my chat, I pinned Mayhem's link for his channel, so just in case if anyone's in here and doesn't know Mayhem, definitely go and check out his channel and subscribe. Great guy, great friend, and always has great live streams.
Yeah, and remember, I will greet you with open arms. All right.
Night, everybody.
All right. Night, everybody.
Much love.
Let me go ahead and
You'll figure it out in a minute. Later, guys.
Yeah, I will.